I would like to show you guys how I manage my bot every trade cycle. Because for your information, I usually run a lot of bots, like from 20 to 40 bots at the same time. So it would be very difficult to do all like managing stuff like configuration, deployment, if you don't have a routine to do that. So today I'm gonna show you how I do that. Like I only have myself, I don't have a team, so you should have a proper routine to do that. For each cycle, I usually do this 8 step, starting from checking the market to identify the pairs, to allocate fund to the pairs. Next, then to make the configuration for my bots. After that is deployment. Next is verify. After all the bots running, I will record my exchange balance day by day to know that if my bot is making money or not. Then by the end of the cycle, I will stop the bot and sell all inventory and recover all my fund to start a new cycle. So basically, that is what I do for every trade cycle, week by week. So I will go into the detail for each step. Hopefully, this is not really boring. So the way I do it, I will say what I'm going to do, and then I will show you guys exactly what I'm doing, like doing it live. In the first step is checking the market. This one is I think it's just like to take a quick look at the current market. Usually I will go to the minus signs, just check on the current campaign on the Hummingbot mining to see how is the reward, what is the current liquidity on each pairs, the market spread, the end day, which one going to end. And also I will take a look at the price action of Bitcoin to see if today is a good day to start bot or not, because all of the pair, I think all the pairs on Hummingbot has high correlation to Bitcoin price action. Let's talk about that. Yeah, so as you can see today, Bitcoin the price dropped a lot. So to me, I will wait a bit to wait the price of Bitcoin to be more stable, and can think that it will be a good start. And maybe then I would try to go to the market page in the Hummingbot meta site to see all the campaigns at each reward and liquidity, to have a sense of like which one should pick first. Usually I will short every pair by liquidity from low to high to see which one has the least competition, and took a quick check all of it. For today, I think I will wait a bit, then I will start on my bot, and it could be a very good start because we are start at the bottom, and when the price recover, we will usually we will not make too many losing trade. Therefore, we can have more reward as a profit. So that is the first step, checking the market. Then I will move to the next one, is to identify which pair to trade by using a set of rules to know which one is a good pair to pick. So usually for me, I use these 6 rules or criteria here. The first 2 are the most important: the liquidity number and the weekly rewards. If the pair has low liquidity and high reward, then I know that the space is very good to trade. And if all the pair is similar in liquidity and weekly rewards, I move next to see if the market spread is high or not. The price action of that pair is trading up or sideways, and if the gold is USDT or any stablecoin or not. Because usually I will prefer to choose the pair that have code in USDT. It would be much more easier for me to manage, to allocate the fund, because I don't have to separate the pool for just for USDT, a pool for Bitcoin, or pool for ETH. Then the last one is to see if the campaigns reward in stable coins or not. Usually in the past, I will create a list ranking, but today I just need to take a quick glance and tell you guys what is my thought. I will rank it just by looking at the market page, because I get used to it because I do this for every day. So now I can do it very, very fast. I don't have to write a list. So let's take a simple as the index here. And first, to sort every campaign by liquidity, as you can see. So usually I would look at the first 1 to 2, and from the top to bottom, to rank them. Usually the first one are good, but now, for example, on this one, we have to pair the NIM BTC and YCT USDT. As with first class, looks like NIM BTC is good one to trade and maybe the best one in asset because it has the lowest liquidity. But we have to look at more numbers, not just liquidity. For example, in the weekly report, the YCT USDT pair has more reward in terms of US value than the NIM BTC pair, but it's not like just the total amount, but it's still a bit bigger. So these can be considered similar to each other. But one deal breaker from the NIM BTC is its code is in BTCs. Usually, I will prefer the USDT much more than other code. So for me, in this case, I will pick the YCT USDT pair as the best one, current best one in Ascendex exchange, and I will rank the NIM BTC lower than this YCT USDT pair. And I continue to do that for every pair to have a sense that how good it is. Like maybe F3RB USDT with like more than $1,000 in rupee reward to only 4,000 in USDT will be much better than the YCT because you can see the liquidity reward is much higher. That is my thinking when I try to pick pairs to find which one is good by looking at the liquidity numbers, the liquidity reward, the quote, which one, and the mark spread 2% is very good. Usually also look at the price action too. Maybe like chop it out like 7 days, and you can see the price is trending up again. So you can say this pair F3RB USDT is a very good pair to trade on. So usually I will do only stuff like for every pairs on every exchange, but because I do it a lot, so I can do it very fast. So just take me like 10 or 15 minutes to know which pair is good or not. Then I will move on to the next step is allocating the fund, because you need to know like how much money you will put into a pair or a pot. So usually for this one, I will use some, you will use some kind of spreadsheet or a calculator application. For me, I will use this app called Numi. This is a calculator, a hybrid between calculator and kind of coding UI. It will give you guys a much better overview on how to allocate a fund. So for me to allocate a fund, I will define a slot, which is the minimum amount of money a person have to trade. Here you can see I define the slot size like with $250, and then divide my total capital to get the maximum number of slot that I can allocate to all my pots. Then so when I have these numbers, I can go into the marketplace upon my side and begin to picking pairs. For today, I already picked some pairs here for Ascendex here. You can see YCT, PLN, is GET5, FTRB. All of these has USDT as the code because I like to have code in USDT. So for much more better, it will be much more easier to allocate a fund. So you can see here for each pair, I assign one, which means one slot, and also mean that I give this pair $250 for trading. And then I just like, the nice thing about Numi is you can write some kind of code syntax and get a calculation right on this writing, and it gives you the number. So it gives you like something like an on-the-fly result, so you can have better overview of every calculation here. And I do the same stuff for KuCoin here. Picking the pair that I think is good by using the rules I set in the identify pair step. Segregate. You guys can see here. I write this to some on the slot I spend on a exchange here. For OKX and Binance, I don't spend anything, so I just write this here just for the sake of writing this one. So once I assign on the slot, you can see here that you can see it's so the number of slot I have spent. You can see is equal to the maximum slot I can spend also. So you can see I have 100%. I have used all of my fund, and I cannot add any more pairs. And also, because I can write a lot of simple calculation and have the result right there, I can know exactly how much money should I send to each exchange, so the bot can have something to trade. You can see for this cycle, I will spend about $5,000, and here you'll see it will automatically calculate how much money should I send to Ascendec coin. Okay, right. It will change it to 10,000. You can see that I have like 40 slots, so I can have more room to add more pair. But for today, only 5,000. So yeah, by the end of this, you will have the allocation for all your pairs, and then next step would be to implement this into your bots, which is the configuration step. For me, to do the configuration for all of my bots, the way I do is to organize them into a code projects and use Git to manage the change plus deployment, because I will push the chain to GitHub and pull them on my servers and let the bots use the new chains. To implement the allocations, I use the balance limit feature of the bot to limit my bot spending in order to fit the funding that I set in the allocation step. And also, if the market condition change a lot, I will also update the parameters too and use Git to push it to my server. So let's see how I do that. So you guys can see here, this is my code project where I store all of my bot configuration. I organize this way. You can see the prefix is ASD, which means asyntax, and next one is the name of the pair. Like here is KuCoins, Gate, Binance. You'll see I don't trade a lot on Binance. So for example, let's take a look at the allocation. I will check to see if I need to change allocation. So for the previous, for your information, in a previous cycle, I have already set almost every pair that I trade to using only one slot, but only this one FVRB, I use 2 slots. So so today I updated I redo is to 1. So I will go to the configuration folder of FVRB here and change. Here you can see this is the configuration for balance limit. It limits how the bot use the money. Here you can see that in the previous cycle I set to 2 slots, which means $500. But for this cycle I reduced to 250. Save the change. And if I need to change any other parameters, I could also do the same. And for your information, I use pure market making strategy on all my bots with a custom script. Here you can see I made some of it, and currently I only use 1. So you can also change the script here and push your chain to your server, and it will be very easy because you use Git, so it's safe on the chain here, and you can have like better overview what you have changed and what not. So for today, I only need to change this FTRP. What should I do next? Yeah, and also because I use a custom script to handling it will automatically change all the parameters of the pure market making strategy. So I don't have to do that. The script do that, so I don't need to change anything about the parameters. So that is the configuration step. I will make the change in the code project and then save. I mean, use Git to save and push to GitHub and deploy it on my server. And then that is the configuration step. Next is deployment. So as you can see, I forgot one more step in the configuration, that is to specify which bot to run. So I made an initial script to run my bot, this one here. It basically read these files here where I specify which bot to run. So for example, today let's run only this guy, as in this here, files pair. You see, I set it as I just write the name, the prefix of the exchange, the name of the pair. SD5, let's see, FTRP. I just need to write this like this, and the script will read the lines, and it will create a Docker container containing the pod, and it will map the configuration from these folders into that container, and the pod in that container will read this configuration and run. To specify which pod to run, I just need to write the name of the pod. You can see here, the name here is exactly the name of the folder here. Now FTRP is the FTRP here. It just needs to run this init and run boss script, and it will run all the pod that I specify in this file. Once here, I mean this is run boss in this files here, the number one files here. The purpose is to split between servers. So next is this deployment. Once I made all the change, I will save this as like recycle here. So I will push into my GitHub, and then I will go to my server. And here I will pull the chain. This is why I use GitHub. I can just pull the new commit, and the chain will be deployed here. And then next is just run the script, the initial script. Because this will be the number one. So you guys can see starting to create a new Docker container which contains the pod and run the script. I mean, run the configuration that I specify in this file. And once the script finishes, all my pods will be online. And after that, I just need to check if they are running or not by using the start script, or using the order tracking page on the minus side to see if my bots are submitting new trades orders or not. And occasionally, I will use the dashboard reward page to check if my bot is stuck or not. Usually, I run multiple bots using the same account. So after Sunday, some bot will each order funding, and so it will sometimes get stuck. It see that it doesn't have the money to trade anymore, so it will not submitting a new orders. So I will need to check if I have any like pair that have reduced in rewards, and check if my bot is stuck or not. So usually I would use the start script. Maybe some of you guys already know it, but I would just do it again like I do it every day. So as you can see, ASD5 is running, and it looks like, yes, it's running right here. So this looks looking good to me. The script is not finished yet, but it will soon be finished. Okay, so that is the verify step. Just need to check if the bot is running or not. And then in the next step, it record the balance like for each day. At the same time, I will pick up any random time in the day and get the remaining fund on exchange, and the reward I got on the minus side, and record them into a spreadsheet. I will use this spreadsheet to calculate the loss and profit in order to track if my bot is making money or not. So for today, because today is starting a new cycle, there will be not much in chain. So you can see here, I just like in my allocation, I spend like I send to Aztec like $1,250 here. Aztec to 1,500. Qcoin is about 2,250, and I will use my spreadsheet here. Here today is Tuesday 7 for me, so I will just write the number. Qcoin is 15, 500, and my current reward. So this will be this number because I haven't received the reward yet. So I will input this number, and just that I will know like how much I made is the bot making money or not. Here, something here. So from Thursday 26 to Wednesday 1st, we can see here's the bot performance. And only do is I just need to record the number of my remaining funds on the exchange and how much reward I made, and do some calculation and know if, like here you can see that from that week is very good, because most of the day I make a profit. Only one day is lost. And I do this day by day until by the end of the cycle, which I will do the last step, which is to stop the bot. I run a lot of bots, so I write the script just to stop and remove all the bot installed on server by just one command. But the downside of this script is that it will like kill the bot. It will not tell the bot to cancel the order. So I will have to do the one more step, is to go to the exchange account and cancel all hanging orders by hand. Then the final step is sell all my inventory on the exchange to recover my fund to be prepared for the next cycle. And then I restart and start a new cycle, just like that. So anyway, anybody have any question about the step in the cycle?
Just one question. What about
yes?
If you got to rebalance your inventory in all the exchange that you have?
You mean I have to do that by hand or otherwise?
Yes. Are you doing it by?
Yeah. I do the rebalance by hands manually.
Okay.
Because I think the most time consuming is just for the time I selling all of my inventories to get the fund back, and then transferring the fund to like to spread the fund into the exchange accounts, so to fit my allocation. But usually it take no more than 30 minutes. So and I haven't worked on any kind of automation to do that automatically yet. But because it just took me like 30 minutes to do that, I still do that manually until this day.
Okay, and why do you choose the amount of liquidity instead of using like I don't know, the yield of the campaign?
I choose the liquidity because it is the main. I mean, my strategy to put the spread as close. I mean, to put the spread as small as possible. So if the liquidity is less, which means there will be less competition here. So if my spread is because my spread is already very low, I can have much more competition and gain more reward. And that is that number is directly related to how much my bot will make. You see most of the time I use liquidity as the most important criteria in selecting the pair.
Perfect. And another question. Sorry, I'm the one that.
Sure. Sure.
You said on the first time of the call that you watched the Bitcoin price, and then with that information, you decide when you have to enter or exit the position. Sorry, to enter the position. You also have like a stop loss or a strategy to exit the positions, or you have a hedge with perpetuals. I don't know if it's very correlated with Bitcoin. Maybe it's good to hedge with Bitcoin if you don't have those markets in perpetuals, or I don't know.
Yeah. So the interesting part of my strategy that for the past 5 months, I haven't used any kind of stop loss for my strategies, because for my strategy, the idea is so it will increase the spread during high volatility time and reduce the spread during low volatility time. And I use the inventory skew feature. So somehow by using that, you don't have to use stop loss a lot, because it will balance your inventory. And this is where you will have to work on the calculation when to put this, which amount of spread you should put on any particular in time. Because if you can work that out, then yes, for me, I don't have to use any Skype stop loss because the bot will balance my portfolio. It will reduce the risk of like a market crash. I mean, to the not on not all the risk, but to the extent where I can still have more profit than my losses. So by the end of the day, I will still make break even in the event of a market crash. I just need to wait for maybe another week to recover my fund. My plan in the future is to write something to watch the price action of Bitcoin and maybe some kind of stop loss there here and there to improve the performance. But because I only have a 1 month team, so and currently my strategy still works without any kind of stop loss. So as that, as still have spent any time to work on that yet. But the case is I don't use stop loss at the moment because my strategy somehow can balance out the risk of like of being in the market crash and just let the reward to cover all my losses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so is there anybody here?
Oh, yeah, yes. I have a question. Yeah, for volatility, it seems like that's very interesting. Seems like different people have different definitions of volatility in trading. I was wondering what parts of volatility do you care more about? And also within, let's say, time frame wise, all that as well.
Yeah, so for me, the volatility I talked about is maybe just like in the 1 hour time frame right here, where I'm showing you guys the chart here. Here's the visualization of how my bot will make the spread. Is where the bot will make the maximum spread, and here is where it will make the minimum spread. So yeah, my script will calculation this maximum and minimum spread and put it there, because for me the time the bot lose the most money is when it's buy here and it sells here, right? So the purpose of this extend range here is to prevent the bot to buy at the top and sell at the bottom. It will not be on over the time. It does reduce those time a lot. And by reducing those time, you will have much less losses, and your profit from the reward. I mean, your reward will have much more better chance to covering all the losses and still give you a green by the end of the day.
Thank you.
One more question. When you are recording the balance, you do it like manually, or do you have like a path to the databases to record the?
At the moment, I just do it by hand. In fact, I have been doing that like from the start, which is in June last year. So each day I just record by hand, because the process is took like for me just like 10 minutes to do that. So and at the moment I do this thing full time, so I have a lot of time to do this. So I don't have much more incentive to make an automation to do this. But I am considering that, because for now I'm also working on order down, so I have much less time to work on this. So maybe I will have to think about writing a script or make an automation to do all this for me and make a nice dashboard to report the loss and profit. But for now, I still do all this by hand, day by day.
Okay, you do it day by day. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. A good way to have like a script to make it for you automatically.
Nice. Oh, by the way, so for the tools I use, I think it's very basic. It's just not a lot, because this is the one I use all the time. So for the planning, yeah, I just use the minus sign, the newbie calculator app, which actually help me a lot in make this very quick allocation, and just good sales for recording the loss or profit of my bot. And for servers, currently I use the two AWS EC2 M5AX last instance for my production bots, and also a Raspberry Pi for running any bot that I currently try to test something out. If I want to test something out, I will use a Raspberry Pi for it. and coding and all the stuff. I just use the usual Visual Studio Code and GitHub to manage the bot configuration. Yeah, just very basic, but because like I do it like day by day and weeks by weeks, it has become a habit to me, and I do it very quick. And that is what I've been doing like for for a year now, day by day, doing this step, the same step, day by day. Okay, so is there any question from you guys? After this discussions, I will write a GitHub case to share my initialized script here, and also an overview on the configuration structure, this project structure here, because you will need this structure in order to run the script and quickly specify which bot you need to run. So I will write a GitHub case to lay out all that and share with you guys after the sessions. Because I think for a very small team, or maybe just one person team like me, having this script will have you guys a lot in deploy the bot, like especially like maybe 20, 30, or maybe hundreds of bots at the same time. You will just need the script to run. But of course, I know there's other trader use much more better solution like Kubernetes or the deployment solution. But for me, I think using this is the best for me at the moment, because it saves me time and I don't have to learn other technologies like Kubernetes or other stuff. I just need a very simple script to run on my bot.
Yeah, that's a thing that a lot of people ask, how to deploy like a lot of bots. It's a good solution, the one that you made.
Yeah.
You mean if this is a good solution?
Yeah. A lot of people is asking, hey, how I could manage a lot of bots. If you do that, I think it's very useful.
Yeah. I will write a GitHub case to lay out all of this, and hopefully it will be helpful for you guys, or at least inspire or add more new ideas to how to, maybe if you guys want to make your setup better, this can be like a new ideas to add to your setup. But for me, it's what I'm using like day by day. So I think it works, at least for me.
Oh, and I have a question. If you have some wish list that you wanted to get help on, let's say on the developer side or other areas, what are some of the things that you might need, that it will be great for someone to help you on?
Yeah, that would be very helpful, because like what I said earlier, that I have a script to stop the bot, but it's only kill the bot by using Docker commands to kill all the instance. It actually it cannot tell the bot to cancel all my orders. So that's why I will have to take another step to go into the exchange and cancel all of them by hand. The reason I haven't been able to do that is I still don't know where I can make the integration. I mean, expose a command from outside so that I can just tell my bot to cancel all the orders. So this would be very helpful if like someone could show me where to look at, and and tell me how to do it. It would be the best. So yeah, any help from the developer side would be very great help in just like reducing the number of steps I do to manage my bot all the time.
I have a question. Just wondering, have you tried any other strategy like Avallaneda or the liquidity mining strategy? How do they perform?
So actually, my first ever strategy is the liquidity mining, but I just use that as like for learning. And actually, I lose. When I try to use that strategy, I have been losing money constantly. But it's just like a way to learn how to use the Hummingbot. And after that, I start to use the PMM for Avallaneda. I tried to use before, but somehow I don't like how the bot behave, and also I didn't understand the math, like what is the one that, I mean, if you want the bot behave this way, how do you configure the bot? Because I don't know the exact relation and the answer to that question. I don't use the Avanade a lot, and actually I just used for after maybe a week, then I I stopped using that because the key things here I don't truly understand the math behind it, so I don't use it because I cannot make any good configuration out of it. And that's why I use PMM, because I will have the more power. The feature I love most is the script, because now I can implement my own understanding and write the calculation using my own. I come up with my own formula and I use the script to implement that, and somehow it's work.
What is the overall profit that you make, if you could share?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, why not? So let's take the most the recent one, the weeks from the 26th to 1st of May, 26th of April to 1st of May. So as you can see here, the profit is from ranging, it's about 1.1 to 1.78% each day. And if I made a lose, I mean, if my body's losing money that way of that day, it's around minus 1.84%. But these times because the market is in the bear seasons. Actually, this is not the best profit I get. The best profit is maybe in here. You can see here. Sometimes it go right into about near 5% a day.
Yep. Have you summarized it or make it into like a yearly return?
Yeah, I haven't to do that, but I because I do it every day. I have a good saying that maybe around not in a year, but in a weeks, maybe around 5 to 6. If it's a good week, 5 to 10%. But if it's not very good, then maybe from 2 to 5%.
Yeah, I see some of those are like 27 minus 27 minus 32.
These are these are the time I rebalance my exchange, so the calculation will be off a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. This is when I remove the money from exchange and edit to another exchange. So the number, and also pulling some of the profit out, so the number will be off.
Okay, so not the real trading.
Yeah, yep. Usually it's the number around 1 to 3 or 5% is the real profit or losses for a normal trading days.
Thanks a lot for sharing this.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Yeah, so that is, I guess, all the thing I can share for today. I hope that it's not too boring for you guys, because it's what I do day to day to get into the little process. So I think maybe it will be interesting for some of you.
Yeah, Shay from the chat asks, how do you avoid market crash?
How do you prevent or avoid a market crash, right? For me, you have to watch the market all the time. If like for something like this happen, then usually most of the time all the coins on the pairs on the Hummingbot will tank a lot. By the end of the day, before you go to sleep, set a price alert around here to check if any suddenly price drop. Usually the Bitcoin will drop first, and then the coins that are on Hummingbot will drop later. So you still have a small windows to stop on the bot and sell off your inventory immediately. And that is, I mean, for me only because I watch the market all the time. So if they are a very, very, very big drop in the Bitcoin price, then immediately I will stop the bot and sell off all my inventory. But that is very rare because, as I said before, for the past 5 months, I don't use any kind of stop loss a lot. Maybe just from last month is the only one time that I stopped all my bot and sell off during the very heavy market crash. Yeah, maybe around here from last month when it's got dry here and I noticed something bad gonna happen. So I just turn off all my bot and sell all inventory and wait for maybe 2 or 3 days.
Usually, how later do the smaller tokens fall after Bitcoin falls?
I don't have an exact number, but my impressions is maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour. Or again, it could be faster, maybe just 50 minutes to be safe. It depends. It's still it's very, very different between coin to coin, but what I say is maybe under an hour on the coins will tank with Bitcoin.
I have one more question here. Wojak, do you have, like say, because of this market volatility or bearish market nowadays, maybe you have plans for like how we can do a hedging on our funds, like using perpetual perpetual futures market, margin futures or a loan or something.
So actually, about hedging, I haven't think about it a lot yet, because I think it is a downside when I try to focus on my work on my writing the script, where I don't have to make any kind of stop loss. So because of that, I don't spend all thinking on hedging. But as you said that we are in a bear market right now, so hedging is something that I'm planning to add into my strategy. One of the direction I'm thinking also, what am I trying to work on as the liquidity down, is to trying to boost the adding more character from the DEX for all the chain into our Hummingbot, so that we can have much more strategy on, like in this case, the arbitrage strategy, where you trade coins on the exchange or even in the DEX, because on DEX, I believe there will be more arbitrage opportunity there rather than on the centralized exchange. So that's why I asked also the governor for the liquidity down, trying to lead the effort on adding character for the DEX like DeFi Kingdom or DeFi, so we can have more option to add into the hedging strategy, like using a less risky strategy like arbitrage or trading on much more stable coins. But for things like perpetuals or margins, I haven't think about it yet, because actually I'm kind of biased on using those, and because I got my account wiped out several times using perpetual, so I kind of scared when thinking about it. So that's why I don't think about it a lot.
All right, I see. Thank you.
Thanks you guys for being here today. Thanks for listening to my presentation. I hope that will give you some new ideas on your setup and how to run your bot day by day. I guess it's not much, but I hope it will be at least some help to you guys.